Hello, I'm Michael Koffler, a partner with Eversheds Sutherland, and I'm joined here today by my colleague Nick Rinaldi. We are here today to talk to you about what account monitoring means in a post-regulation best interest environment. Nick?
Thanks, Michael. Periodic monitoring of a customer's account by a broker-dealer can be consistent with the solely incidental prong of the broker-dealer exclusion. Where a broker-dealer agrees to monitor a retail customer's account on a periodic basis to provide buy, sell, and hold recommendations, they still may be within the broker-dealer exclusion because these services are considered to be providing advice in connection with and reasonably related to affecting securities transactions. A voluntary review of a retail customer's account without an agreement in place with the retail customer would not be considered account monitoring, and any subsequent recommendation based on such review would be subject to regulation best interest. Broker-dealers should consider adopting policies and procedures that would help demonstrate that the agreed-upon monitoring is in connection with and reasonably related to the broker-dealer's primary business of affecting securities transactions. However, providing advisory services, such as a continuous monitoring, should be prohibited by these broker-dealers' policies and procedures. Michael, what sort of practices would fall outside the exclusion?
It's a great question, Nick. A couple of examples are if the broker-dealer agrees to separately to contract for account monitoring services or charges a distinct and separate fee for those services. That would cause the broker-dealer to be viewed as an investment advisor.
Okay. In terms of regulation best interest, where a broker-dealer agrees to provide the retail customer with periodic account monitoring services, the monitoring and the buy, sell, or hold recommendations are all subject to regulation best interest. Implicit recommendations that are made based on buying, selling, or exchanging assets pursuant to such account review would be covered by regulation best interest. However, where there's no agreement in place, only explicit and not those implicit recommendations would be subject to the regulation. As part of an agreement to monitor, broker-dealers must disclose all material facts, including the scope and frequency of those services pursuant to the disclosure obligation. Now Michael will talk to us about the SEC interpretation regarding the standard of conduct for investment advisors.
Thanks, Nick. So one of the things that the Commission did in the release is to provide more information about what an advisor's duty of care requires. Among other things, it said that the duty of care includes the duty to provide advice and monitoring at a frequency that's in the client's best interest, taking into account the scope of the agreed-upon relationship. Now, to that point, the Commission said that an advisor and a client can scope out the frequency and nature of account monitoring that is going to be provided as long as there is full and fair disclosure of the practices and informed consent provided by the client to those practices. Now, if there's not an express agreement regarding monitoring, then the scope of the duty is going to really be determined by the duration and nature of the agreed-upon advisory arrangement. For instance, take a discretionary asset management relationship. By definition, that is going to involve continuous monitoring of the account. On the other hand, a one-time financial plan or a one-time review of an account or security is not going to involve continuous or ongoing monitoring. Another point that the Commission makes in the release is that an advisor's duty to monitor relates to all personalized advice it provides to the client. And finally, the frequency of monitoring is something that the Commission said is material to the advisory relationship. That means that the advisor has to provide full and fair disclosure of its monitoring practices and receive informed consent to those practices. Thank you for joining us today. For more information about regulation best interest and other bottom line videos, please go to eversheds-sutherland.com. Thank you.